Hey guys, what's up? It's Greg. So I'm really excited to share this video with you guys. In this video, I'm going to be doing a tortoise rescue. So a friend of mine, her friend's ex-boyfriend's family owned a tortoise, and it's this little guy that you're going to be seeing in these next few clips. This tortoise was getting abused. This tortoise was kept in what looked like either a 10 or a 20-gallon glass tank. Tortoises are not supposed to be kept in glass tanks. This tortoise's diet was very poor. It consisted mostly of bologna, a processed salted meat, which is not safe or good to feed a reptile. And the only other things that it ate other than that was a really poor quality pelleted food, occasional iceberg lettuce, which has little to no nutrition in it whatsoever, and banana. This tortoise had nothing in its enclosure other than a brick, a pile of reptile carpet, which was pushed up against the glass because it kept trying to dig against it, and no water bowl. In this vlog style video, I'm going to be showing you how I rehabilitate the tortoise and how I cared for him and nursed him back to health. This video might be a little sad to some people just because of some of the original clips. I'm going to show you how he looked in the condition I first got him in. His beak was extremely overgrown and it reached over his nose up to his eye level, and he was having severe trouble breathing. His eyes were really watery, and he had a minor case of pyramiding on his shell. I didn't end up keeping this tortoise. I actually rehabilitated him for a span about 2 months, and then I gave him to one of my best friends, Jill. I taught her everything she needed to know to care for an exotic pet, and she's a great tortoise mommy. This video was filmed actually back in December, so you're gonna see my hair is longer than it is now. I might look a little bit differently. It's a vlog style video, like I said, so I'm gonna be holding the camera around a lot, showing you what I'm doing throughout the video and how I'm helping out this tortoise. I hope you guys enjoy. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments down below. And check out my TikTok and my Instagram. They're both at Greg_Bashaw. Let's get started. This is a quick clip of the tortoise on the car ride home. He seemed pretty scared and he wasn't used to his surroundings at this time. Hey guys, it's Greg. I'm here with my friend Lauren. We just rescued a redfoot tortoise. Its old owner neglected it a lot and it was only in a 20-gallon long tank. Tortoises aren't supposed to be kept in glass because they bash their heads into it over and over again and they don't understand the concept of glass. The old owners didn't give it proper lighting, so you'll see how bad it is, but hopefully I'm gonna nurse it back to health and be able to find it a better owner eventually. Definitely gonna have proper lighting for it. We're actually about to soak it and give it its first bath with me, just in case it's dehydrated. We want to make sure that it water back into its system right away so it'll be able to be recovering quicker. So this is the little guy. You can see how bad the pyramiding is already. For being such a young tortoise, its shell should not be this bumpy. Especially the one on the back, it's really raised. This is called pyramiding basically. It's usually caused by improper lighting and an improper diet in tortoises. This doesn't happen in the wild at all with them because they always get their right nutrition and their right lighting from the sun. But it's common in captivity if the tortoise is being neglected and the people don't know the proper husbandry for the species. So I'm gonna keep him for a little bit and nurse him back to health, and hopefully he'll be doing a lot better. His eyes are a little watery, which is a little concerning. They're not really supposed to look like that, but we're gonna give him a first bath right now to clean him up, and hopefully he'll be able to drink a little bit, so it'll speed up his recovery a little bit better. So I can tell right away it's definitely enjoying being in this water soaking for a little bit. Tortoises, when they're stressed in water, they'll usually try to climb out right away and walk around the edges. Probably would have been hanging out in the shallow area a little bit more. But he's definitely enjoying it because he's kind of just sitting there letting the spigot drip on him a little bit. You can tell how right away how dirty he was because look how much filth just went right into the bathtub. That's kind of sad given that there was no substrate in the tank either. So you can kind of tell that they probably didn't even bathe it to keep it clean. So he's been soaking for about 10 minutes now, and I'm starting to suspect that he might be a cherryhead redfoot as opposed to a regular redfoot. And basically what that just means is how brightly colored red their head is. Regular redfoot tortoises usually don't have this bright red coloring all along their face. Usually it's just along the sides of the face and on their feet. But as you can tell, his whole face is pretty much bright red. They usually get a little bit smaller than regular redfoots as well, but they're technically the same species. I'm a little disappointed that he wasn't able to go to the bathroom in here. Usually that's something typical for tortoises to do when they're soaking. They usually like to go to the bathroom in the water. He's been in here for like 10 minutes, like I said, and he hasn't shit. There was a lot of shit that came off of his shell, as you can tell, probably from the lack of cleaning him. So I'm gonna go and bring him downstairs with the rest of my tortoise squad, and we're going to see if he wants to eat, because hopefully we can get some food and nutrition into him and fatten him up a little bit. So right away, some other things I'm noticing about this tortoise is look how overgrown its beak is. It sticks all the way up past its eye, and the beak is basically their mouth. That's like how they eat food. It's kind of like a beak of a bird. They break apart their food with it, but it is really high up and it's really pointy, and I don't think that's typical. Hopefully it won't continue to grow up that high and look as bad. I'm also thinking it's a male because of how concave its shell is. You can see how it's like swooping inwards. The male tortoises' shells are that shape because it's easier for them to mount the female when they mate. It's kind of curved, so it sits right on top of the female's shell, as opposed to a female where their shell would be flat, so there's more room for them to store eggs. I'm going to place him down in this enclosure now with my other tortoises. They're pretty friendly with other tortoises. These are my two sulcatos. My Russian tortoise is actually hibernating outside in his outdoor enclosure. If there is any fighting over here, I'm going to be monitoring them really closely. But if there is any fighting, I probably will set up something else for him. But I like this setup because of how much lighting I have. I have two different UVA, UVB fixtures. And then I have a standard basking heat lamp. And then I have a nighttime heat lamp. This one stays on at all times of the day. And as these ones go on a timer. And he has a lot of room for him to go in. He has this hay pile where he can go and sleep in and eat if he wants to. He could also get away from the other tortoises and burrow into it if he wants to be left alone. I have the log for him to climb over, which is going to be really good to rebuild his leg strength because he was not able to climb or move around a lot, which is why he looks so bad right now. He's already going under the basking lamp, so that's a good thing. He probably wants to warm up and soak in some UV rays, which he did not have at all at his old. I'm gonna go prepare a meal for him and see if he's willing to eat. I just prepared this tortoise's first meal with me. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what I gave him. I gave him these Missouri tortoise pellets. It's a nice staple for most tortoise species. It's mostly made of grasses and hay, and they get a lot of nutritional value from like what they would graze in the wild, and that's mostly in those pellets. They could eat them either dry or soaked, but I soaked them. That way he can get more moisture in his body right away, so it'll help him nurse him back a little bit quicker. I also added a tiny bit of carrot. I don't know if they're too big or hard for him to eat. I don't know how well he takes to harder foods, but hopefully if he does like them, it'll help wear his beak down a little bit. I also gave him some organic mixed greens from my garden, and then a little bit of banana, because apparently his old owner said banana was his favorite food, and redfoots can eat a little bit more fruit in their diet than most tortoise species. And then I mixed a tiny bit of cauliflower in here as well, just for some added nutrition. I distracted my other two tortoises. He's already exercising, like Lauren said. I'm gonna give him this plate of food and see if he goes ham on it. The other two tortoises might try to eat some of it, but we're gonna watch them closely and make sure that he gets the majority of it. Okay, so this is a really good sign. He went straight to the food, and of course he went right to the banana like his owner said. He loves banana. This is a really good sign that he's eating right away, so hopefully he'll be able to gain a little bit of weight, get that missing nutrition he was lacking in his diet. I didn't say this earlier, but I also did dust his food with some calcium with added D3. The calcium is good for their bone and shell growth. It's basically good for a healthy development of all their bones. And added D3 is to make up for the lack of UVB he's been getting because he had no light. And this big guy is like, I'm hungry. I'm gonna go steal some of your food. Hey, my man's is going ape. He really does love the banana. Oh no, he doesn't like that.
He's camera shy.
He is camera shy. He's like wiping it off of his face. Another good sign now, he's actually eating the lettuce and the pellets. He's not just going for the banana. He ate most of the banana. He's definitely interested in eating other foods that he's not used to. I just added this little cardboard box for him so he can go and sleep in it if he wants to be away from the larger ones. And it's working out well because he went right inside. So right now I'm tackling this tortoise's biggest problem, which is its overgrown beak. A tortoise's beak is actually made up of keratin, which is the same material as your fingernails. And like your fingernails, once it grows past a certain point, it doesn't have any nerve endings any longer, so it's perfectly safe to trim. I just use a normal pair of nail clippers for this. He did seem like he was getting pretty stressed out while I was doing this, but in reality, it was for his better good, and I did do it in intervals, so I didn't do it all at once. I actually did it on 3 or 4 separate occasions to space it out, to limit the amount of stress I would put on him. In the past, I've actually heard of stories where people had to do this to a tortoise and trim its beak like this, but it's really unfortunate that this could have been completely avoided in the first place if it was just given the right care from the beginning. A tortoise's beak won't grow to this extreme if it is given a variety of different textures of foods to eat, and it has multiple things in its environment that it can grind that beak down on, like a cuttle bone or different rocks. But slowly but surely, while being really careful, I was able to expose his nostrils so he was able to breathe freely again. And this is how he looked after his beak trimming and after I gave him a second bath. His beak is still going to need some work on in the future, but it's significantly better than what it used to be. He quickly grew to love drinking out of a water bowl, and he would actually dunk his entire head under the water to get a drink and clear out his nostrils. And this is the Tortoise's new setup. It is 2 Zoo-Med tortoise houses. It's roughly 6 feet long by 2 feet wide. It's a huge setup for such a small tortoise, which is why I love it. This half of the setup has Eco Earth as a substrate. You can see up in there. And then this half has Repti bark. So my friend uses multiple different lights, so he has a lot of UVA and UVB. He also has heat lights that go on at nighttime. And they're on both sides of the enclosure, so the light is evenly balanced. There are 2 hides for him. This one in the middle goes down like that, and he can go up in there and walk in between the 2 and get some shade. And then there's the one on the opposite side of the setup where he has a little cave where he can go into, and there he is now, checking out his little cave. She has a large walk-in water bowl over here for him that he likes to soak in. And then there is another water bowl up on this side. It's a smaller one so he can drink from. There is also a fake plant that he can go and burrow in and climb over. There is a half log over here. It's a little small for him to go inside of, but it's more for him to build up leg strength and something for him to climb on. And then, like I said previously, he has that circular log hide over there in the corner underneath that shelf, so you can get some shade and some privacy. It's been a couple months since I rescued the tortoise, and he's been doing so much better now. He eats regularly, he drinks, he walks around, he's active, he loves exploring, he loves trying new foods, and honestly, he's adorable. So that's it with this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed the process of me rehabilitating this tortoise and nursing him back to health. If you like it, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, comment down below any video suggestions you have for me, and make sure you follow me on TikTok and Instagram. Like I said earlier, it's just at Greg_Bashaw. It was a really good thing that I was able to rescue this tortoise because, to be honest, I don't think it would have lived out its full lifespan in this care that it was previously kept in. I hope I can see you guys up in my next video. Later.